Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. First off, let's get the elephant out of the room. Yes, I dyed my hair. I did the thing. I've never dyed my hair. So this is a new experience for me, and it's kind of weirding me out, but I really like it a lot. Yay! Second of all, this is a book haul. We're going to talk about lots of books in this book haul because I haven't done a book haul since April. Got a lot of books to show you, also some birthday books, so many things. I'm going to try to go fast. No guarantees, I'm really going to try. Thirdly is that this video is sponsored by Book Outlet, and you guys freaking know that I love Book Outlet, so no surprises that they are in this haul. Just want to tell you that up front. And now let's show off some books. Yeah! The first thing that I have is this box that I got from Penguin that is a children's book, and I was very surprised to get it. Still slightly bitter that I didn't get the box that has Warcross in it. I was waiting. Real sad about that. But I did get this, which is really cool. There's a little postcard in it. There's the book. It was written by Chelsea Clinton, and it's about 12 American girls that changed the world, which is phenomenal and amazing, and I'm so happy that this book exists. Got a little tote, and finally two shirts. One of them is not even my size, but is an adult shirt, and the other one is a child's shirt that I don't have anything to do with because I don't have a child. So, exciting times. Good stuff right here. Good stuff. Next up are some just random books that I bought, some new releases within this year that I was just like, I just gotta get them. First up is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. This came out in May, and I had to have it because I freaking loved Lady Midnight, and I was like, I need Lord of Shadows. It takes place 5 years after the Mortal Instruments series ends, and it follows some Shadowhunters that live in LA. They're dealing with the aftermath of the Mortal Instruments series as well as the Cold Peace, which affects their family particularly. But then some crazy stuff starts happening, some murders start happening, and Emma and Julian go against the Clave to find things out. I love this series a lot. We'll see how the third book is, but it's right up there with the Infernal Devices for my favorite series within that world. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And I got this from Barnes & Noble because it had a deleted scene. It was worth it. Whenever I was getting Lord of Shadows, I got it online at Barnes & Noble, and to get the free shipping, you have to get another book. So I got King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. This is the third book in the Red Queen series. Red Queen is about a world where there are two different types of people. People who have red blood and people who have silver blood. People who have silver blood have powers, and the red blood people are their slaves, basically. Then our main character, Mare, discovers that she is unique and special, and she is actually a red blood person who has powers. So that complicates her life and this world a lot more than it was already, and this is the third book in that series. I've read the first two books. I enjoyed them. They're not anything super unique, but I liked them, and the second book took a huge turn from the first book, so I'm interested to see where it goes in this one. Next up is Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han. This is the third book in the Lara Jean trilogy. It was only supposed to be a duology, but I am so glad we got this third book. The first book is about Lara Jean. She is a romantic soul. She has always written love letters to all the boys that she had crushes on, and then just kept them in a box and never sent them. One day they get sent out, and she has to deal with the aftermath of that, and that results in her fake dating this guy named Peter Kay, and there's just a lot of fun and mayhem and cuteness. One thing I will say about the series that you have to know going in is that Lara Jean is a young character, and she reads like that sometimes, but everything is worth it for this book. Look at the beautiful naked book. It's so beautiful, so purple. I love it. And if you didn't know, the first book in this series is being made into a movie. I think they already wrapped on filming, so I am very excited to see that. Next up is Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. This is about a girl whose father is murdered because he journals about the secret location of this gold mine, so she disguises herself as a boy and goes out to find out why that happened and to seek vengeance for him. But the world is harsher than she realized, and there's a lot more danger there than she ever thought. Mostly, I like this book because of the cover. It's so beautiful. And also, gold mine era is a very interesting time period for me to read about. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's up there. I like it a lot, so excited to read this one. Next up is Flame in the Mist by Renee. This is about Mariko, and she's living in a world where her only duty is to marry. As she's going to meet her betrothed, their caravan is attacked, and she is the only survivor. So she decides to dress up as a boy and infiltrate the Black Clan, aka the people who attacked the caravan, and figure out why that happened and how she can get revenge. I'm intrigued. Next up is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I got this from Book of the Month whenever Max gave me a coupon to sign up for $1, and then I stopped doing Book of the Month after I got this book for $1. Eee, that's how I live my life. I had mostly heard about this from all my friends. Everyone was like, it's so beautiful, it's so beautiful, it's so beautiful, so I just had to pick it up. This book is about Saeed and Nadia, and they are two young lovers in a country in turmoil. After their relationship starts blossoming, they decide to leave and to become refugees through some mysterious and interesting traveling circumstances, and it just follows their life as refugees, and is a commentary on people who have to leave their country and what happens to them after that. That's all I'm gonna say, so you should just read it. The cover is also beautiful, and the naked book would be beautiful without this freaking Book of the Month thing. Sorry, I'm just not a fan of the whole, like, we gotta put our name on everything for the book club. And last up in this category is Because You Love to Hate Me, which is 13 13 short stories about villains by different authors, edited by Anne-Marie. But the interesting thing about this is that 13 booktubers gave them the prompts for the stories. So a lot of my friends are in this book. They have little pieces of writing in this book, so I picked it up to be supportive, but also because I want to read their stories and read their stuff. My friends. The whole premise sounds very interesting, so I'm excited to read it. Next up are some birthday books. Yes, my birthday was in June, and we're talking about birthday books now. Yep, that's how it goes. First up is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is a fantasy book that everyone has raved about. Everyone who has read it has been like, this book is amazing, this book is amazing, this book is so good, oh my gosh. And I was also reading this with my friend Des. We decided to buddy read a book together. He is not on BookTube at all, but he's trying to read more books this year. And it was so good. The hype is real, guys. But you're here for the synopsis, not my thoughts about it. This is about a man who has had a lot of other stories told about him, but he has retired to the quiet life. But through a turn of circumstances, ends up telling his story to the storyteller. So it's just really about his life and how he became this well-known figure in this fictional world. There's other stuff going on behind the scenes, but it's mostly about him and his life, and it's so good. Read it, please. Next up, I got one of my favorite books of this year so far, which is Geek Arella by Ashley Poston. This book was so good. This is a retelling of Cinderella, but in modern day. The main character's name is Elle, and she lives with her stepmother and stepsisters, and they are just not great people. The one thing she has linking her to her dad, who has died, is this show called Starfield, and now they're making a movie of it, and she's super pumped, but then the main character is announced. It's not who she was wanting. She thinks he's overrated, and she's just not happy about it. And then on the flip side, you have Darian, who is that guy, and you're seeing what's happening in his world and how he is actually a fan of Starfield, and he wants more out of his life. It's a combination of Cinderella, also like a little bit of a Cinderella story. I read it in like one day. It was amazing. Next up is Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz. And I got this from Whitney from Witty Novels. We both got each other the same book for our birthdays. It's great. This, I think, is the more historical tale of how Alex and Eliza got to be, not like the Hamilton version. So a bit of historical fiction. I'm excited mostly because it's Hamilton related, and I love Hamilton, but I'm also not a huge fan of Melissa De La Cruz's writing, so we'll see. I really do want to try it. Thank you, Whitney, for this. Next up is City of Dreaming Books by Walter Moores. I got this from Paige Enchantology, who is the best. I love her so much. This is about a guy whose grandfather gives him an unpublished manuscript by some writer who has disappeared into this world called Bulkhelm, aka the City of Dreaming Books. So he stays because he loves the city and falls under its spell, but there's also some different, more sinister things that are happening in Bookholm that he never expected. This sounds amazing, and I am so excited to read it. Next up is The Hogwarts Library by J.K. Rowling, which has Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Quidditch Through the Ages, and The Tales of Beetle the Bard. I got this from Max, who doesn't have a channel anymore, but his channel was Well Done Books. You can check out his other videos. Just go tell him that he needs to come back. I've wanted these for forever. I'm so excited that I have them now, and it's the newer ones. I'm so excited. New additions to my Harry Potter shelf. I'm not gonna tell you what these are about, guys. Like, titles are very self-explanatory, and if you don't know anything about Harry Potter, you should really just Google it. Next up are books that I got from Book Outlet. Yay! Next up is Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed. This is about a girl named Nalia, and she's the daughter of some very conservative immigrant parents from Pakistan. They have a lot of rules for her. One of them is not falling in love, and then she does, and they whisk her off to Pakistan to get her away from this boy. But then once she's there, she finds out that they have found a boy for her, and they are going to try to force her to marry him, and she is stuck in Pakistan with no way to get home. I'm pretty sure I've read a news story like this, and I'm super intrigued by it and super interested in it. It sounds amazing, and I'm probably going to read it really soon. I thought it was an Aladdin retelling. I was wrong. Also, my nails are awful. I'm so sorry. My hair will distract you. Next up is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. This is about a girl named Audrey who develops an anxiety disorder after something awful happens to her. Her family is very supportive. They are there for her. They help her through it, but she's making really slow progress until she meets one of her brother's friends. They hit it off and form a friendship and maybe a romantic relationship, and that helps her along in that process. I hope it's not him just being the catalyst for all the change in her life, because I'm not about those kind of relationships, but if he's just a support and then she does it on her own, here for it. I know Book Explosion read this as a book of the month a while ago, so I'm intrigued. Next up is First and Then by Emma Mills. Fun fact, I watched Emma Mills videos like a long time ago, like some of the first videos I watched on YouTube, and then when she became an author, I was like, you go girl. And I've heard amazing things about her books from people, so I'm even more excited to read them. This is about a girl named Devin. She is just happily making her way through high school. She is just crushing on this guy. She's having a good time. And then this arrogant jerk Ezra moves into her life along with her cousin Foster, and she doesn't really want them in her life to mess things up for her. Maybe it shakes her up romantically, I don't know, maybe. It sounds great. Next up is 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray. I bought this before I read 1,000 Pieces of You because covers, and I was kind of regretting it, but now I'm gonna read this with my friend Emma, whose channel is Emma Tobias. She's great. We're both interested enough to keep reading this series, so I'm excited to read that with her eventually. The first book in this series is about a girl named Marguerite. Her mom invented this thing that allows cross-dimensional travel, but then one of their grad students murders her dad, and her and the other grad student, Theo, go after him throughout the dimensions. If that sounds interesting to you, you gotta know. It's real cool on the sci-fi side, but it's a romance above everything else, and that's the thing I didn't know going in, and I just want you to know. It's not sci-fi with romance elements, it is a romance with sci-fi elements. Next up is The Walled City by Ryan Grodin. I've heard really good things about this, so I'm excited to read it. This is about a girl named Jin who lives in this city that is overrun by crime lords and is just full of craziness and crime and just awfulness, but she passes as a boy in order to survive, and this boy comes to her and says that he can help her rescue her sister, and she's about that life, but it's a race to find her kidnapped sister and to make sure that she survives. Sounds really exciting, really interesting. I'm excited. Next up is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. This is about Mikey, and Mikey lives in a world where there are superheroes and chosen ones, and he is not one of those people. He is actually the best friend to one of those people. He's just trying to live his life, go through high school, even though their school, you know, keeps getting blown up. He's just trying to live his life, okay? I love stories about the unassuming character, like the not chosen one, the ones who are the best friends. It's just a great time. I'm very excited. Next up is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. This is about Paige, and her first boyfriend dies in a swimming accident, and so she just kind of shuts everybody out after that, but now is trying to really like start her life again. She wants to go out with her longtime crush who is now single, but then his cousin moves to town and recruits her for the quiz bowl team. It sounds adorable and romantic and also sad AF, but good, because there's that extra story. I know it's not just gonna be romance. There's more to the story than that. And I am very excited to read it. And last but not least, I got the Puffin in Bloom Alice in Wonderland edition. I thought this was the normal Puffin in Bloom size. It was not. It's giant, but it's beautiful. Look at this cover and look at this. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. If you don't know what Alice in Wonderland is about, Google it. Mostly I just got this because I want to collect all the Puffin in Bloom books. So beautiful. Next up are books I got in Owlcrate. I'll try to skim over these real fast because hopefully you've already seen my Owlcrate videos. If not, you can check them out on my channel, which you're on right now. First up is New World Rising by Jennifer Wilson. This is about a girl named Phoenix whose parents have died, and she is left in this dystopian world where surviving outside of the walls is really, really difficult, but surviving inside the walls means either joining the tribes or dying. So she's just trying to figure out how to live her life and survive. It sounds really interesting, and I also love the name Phoenix. Next up is The Sandcastle Empire by Kayla Olson. This is about a girl named Eden, and she lives in a world that used to be normal, but now the wolf pack has taken over. They killed all her friends and family, and she goes to this island to be part of the resistance. But the island is a lot more dangerous than they realized. We'll see what happens. And the cover is gorgeous. It's an Owlcrate exclusive cover. I think it was green, and then this stuff was white, so I love this a lot more. Next up is book 1 of York, The Shadow Cypher by Laura Ruby, and this is about some kids that live in New York in this more steampunky version of New York where these two twins were the ones who really like built everything up and did everything, and they left behind a cipher for people to find their treasure, but the puzzle hasn't been solved and they disappeared decades ago. Then these three friends get together and they're like, we're gonna solve it because otherwise their building that was built by these twins is gonna be taken over and they are gonna have to leave. It sounds like Ready Player One, but like New York. I'm excited. Next up is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This is another Owlcrate exclusive cover. Yes! This is about a girl named Eliza, and she is the author and artist of a very popular online comic, but in real life is very unassuming and is just trying to keep to herself. Nobody knows her real identity. Then one of the fans of her comic moves to her school and they strike up a friendship over that comic, and then she's like, maybe I could tell him who I am and maybe it'll be fine. But then her identity gets leaked to the world and chaos ensues. So I've heard amazing things about this. I've heard it's like fangirl but better, so we'll see. I'm very excited to read it. Next up is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This is about a girl named Molly. She has had a record 26 crushes, which have all been unrequited, but on the other hand, she's never told them how she felt. Then her sister starts dating this girl and brings along some other boys, and she's like, I could be interested in one of them. But she's also started working at this place and meets a boy there who she doesn't have anything in common with, but they just are really good together. It's real cute. There's a lot of great representation in this book. It's really good. You should read it. Next up is Sleepy Hollow and Other Short Stories by Washington Irving. Again, if you don't know the story of Sleepy Hollow, Google it. I believe in you. But this is a book from Rock Paper Books, which I love their books so much. I have some other ones from Owlcrate in the past on my shelves, and I love them so much. They're so beautiful, and just look at this art. Would you just look look at it. Next up is The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is about a girl who lives in a world where you can actually trade your heart away for things. She does that in order to stay at the boarding school that's been the only home she's really ever known, but then she finds this other boy who also has sold his heart to demons, and they start falling in love. So then they try to get their hearts back. Next up is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is about a boy named Monty, and he has been a partier, he's done a lot of different things, but now he has to take over his dad's estate. So as his last hurrah, he decides to travel through Europe with a great crew and his best friend, who he also likes and is going to definitely flirt with all the time, whose name is Percy, and he is working on the boat as well. Then some crazy stuff happens, and this trip turns into a manhunt throughout all of Europe. I've heard amazing things about this, so I'm very interested and excited to read it. Percy is a guy, so I know that there is some representation there. They're a gay couple, but that's all I know. Exciting. Next up are some books that I got from Harper. First up is Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. This is the second book in a duology. The first book is This Savage Song. This Savage Song is about August and Kate, and they are children on opposite sides of the city that are run by their respective dads. Then August is sent on a mission to get to know Kate. What Kate doesn't know is that August is a monster, but he can blend in like a human. Then they both get caught in this situation, and they run away together and try to figure out what the heck is going on. The first book in this duology was really good, and I'm so excited to read this one as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Next up is Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. This is about a girl named Ramona, and she is kind of the responsible one in her household. Then her sister gets pregnant, and there's just all of these different things. One thing that Ramona knows for sure about herself is that she likes girls, but then one of her friends comes to town and her feelings for him kind of shift, and she finds out that her sexuality is a little bit more fluid than she thought it was. Sounds really good, and also this cover is beautiful forever and ever and ever. Next up is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is about two coworkers named Lucy and Joshua. They have hated each other since they started working together, but then they kiss, and maybe it's not actually hate at all. This is definitely new adult, which I kind of knew going in, but didn't totally know. But it was really great and really cute, and I liked it a lot. And this is not a wrap-up, but still. Last but not least is Emmy and Oliver by Robin Benway. This is about two childhood friends, Emmy and Oliver. They knew each other when they were younger, but then Oliver's dad kidnaps him, and 10 years go by before they see each other again. So this book is really about them just trying to figure out how to be friends again, and maybe there's some romantic things in there too. It sounds really sad and beautiful, and I am excited to finish it because I'm kind of reading it right now. It's fine, whatever. That's all the books. There's a lot right here. I have all of them stacked. There's a lot. Exciting times. Hopefully my next haul will be a lot sooner. Let me know down below if there's anything that I should read first. Tell me what you love out of these books, or maybe if there's anything I should avoid or give away. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Are you kidding me? Hi.
Hi. Be quiet. Are you taking the thumbnail yet?
Do you want to help? Gonna try to hold these books?
Hello! I haven't been on this channel in a while. Nice to see you again.
This stack. Oh my gosh, one's falling.
Okay, should I put it down?
No, not yet. Okay, now.
Okay, don't die.
Do you notice my hair?
Oh my gosh, it's a blonde. Oh my gosh, you got it! You've been talking about doing this for forever.